Hi guys, this is Zach from Watches on You, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Omega Speedmaster Dark Side of the Moon Apollo 8. So this is a very interesting piece, as it's a special edition Omega Speedmaster, but I will say there are many special edition Speedmasters, but this one I'd say I found to be much more interesting than a lot of the other ones, as one, it uses the regular Omega caliber 1861, which is in the Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch Professional, just the standard one that actually went to the moon. You can see that the case profile is the same as the one as the Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch Professional, and this is just a little different, as a lot of other special editions and stuff will sometimes be based on the coaxial model and not the actual Moonwatch that was the same as the one that went to space. Now, the movement in this piece, what makes this one super special is that it's actually skeletonized. And if you'll notice, there actually is really no full dial here. So there is a little dial insert that goes around to do the minute track, and then comes out to do the subdials. And I really love how they kind of tie it to the indices, the subdials, so that it really is very, very minimalist, and you get a great amount of view of that movement. So that's the movement right there behind it. And what's, again, special about this is, one, it's skeletonized, but two, if you notice, they actually laser engrave the pattern of the moon's surface onto the watch movement. Now, this is something I really have never seen on any other movement, where they're actually laser engraving the, something of this detail, except the Breguet Double Tourbillon, which we did review, actually did have kind of a cool space scene depicted on its Caseback, which is interesting, but I've never seen something like this for the dial, and I think this provides a much more unique look than you get with a lot of other watches. Now, the case of this piece comes in black ceramic, as you'll see right here. It is the same size case as the base Omega Speedmaster, so it's going to be 42 millimeters. And then I believe the thickness is around 13.8. So the case profile is very similar, if not exactly the same, as the steel Moonwatch Professional. And what I love about Omega ceramics is that they finish them like they're made out of steel. You can see that they brush them and polish them, and they do all the same elements as a steel watch, which is something that other brands really don't do with ceramic, and I think it looks much nicer and much cooler when they finish it like that. So this watch, now I'm actually going to know the Caseback. So as I said, this watch has the base Omega caliber 1869. Sorry, I said 1861 earlier, I think. I meant 1869. And you can see the moon surface laser engraving continues to the back, and you have a beautiful skeletonized look at the Omega movement. Now, this is a it's a much more finished than the typical one on the original, just because of that laser engraving. It's much more intricate. It's obviously not done by hand, so if you prefer handmade, then the perlage and the Côte de Genève is going to be more appealing on the base model. But I think that the surface of the moon engraved on it just really fits this watch, because it's the first watch to go onto the moon, and it's just something super interesting that you don't see in other watches. So you can see that you also have an interesting quote depicted here, and it says, "We see you on the other side," or "We'll see you on the other side." So that's just kind of a common phrase. I think it's kind of funny that they put it on there, and I think it adds to the uniqueness. And then it tells you the date or the year of Apollo 8, and so it's Apollo 8, December 1968, and then it says Dark Side of the Moon right there. So on this watch, though, you're still getting the tachymeter bezel, which is the same as on the base one. You can use that to find your speed if you know the distance of 100 meters using the chronograph. But now I'm going to actually move on to a wrist shot. So on the wrist, this watch is, again, it wears very much like the original Omega Speedmaster, and it does, though, provide a much less dressy of a look. The Omega Speedmaster you could easily pull off with a suit or something. This thing, not so much. I would not wear this with a suit. This is a dedicated sports watch. Just looking at the different colors, the yellow and black, it's very, very sporty, and it has this cool kind of perforated strap, which almost makes it look like a racing watch, which, again, it kind of has the Omega Speedmaster racing look, even though it is based on the Moonwatch itself. Now, I'm going to actually demonstrate the chronograph next, which I have not done yet. So the chronograph is going to be, again, it's the same movement as the base Omega Speedmaster, and you'll just activate it by clicking the upper pusher. And you can actually notice on the dial when I hit the pushers, you can see the movement actually work, which is something else that's interesting. As most other times, the only way to see the movement work is if they're an exhibition case back, but this you can see it on the dial as well. So now you can stop it with the upper pusher again, and then you can reset. So the sub dials you can see are running seconds on the left, 30-minute counter for the chronograph on the right, and 12-hour counter for the chronograph at 6 o'clock. Now, the action of this chronograph is very, very nice. It's the same as the Moonwatch, so if you're familiar with that, this is going to feel exactly the same because it's the same movement. But I will say, just in general, Omega Speedmasters, the Moonwatch itself tends to have a better action than a lot of other cam chronographs. It honestly almost feels like it's a column wheel chronograph. It's that smooth. I'd say it's for sure one of the most refined cam chronographs I've ever used. And one thing I forgot to mention is talking about ceramic. So ceramic itself is going to be extremely scratch resistant. Now, it's not going to necessarily be much tougher than steel, and that's because it's not chip resistant. The chipping on ceramic is much easier to do than on a stainless steel watch. You're going to chip this watch much easier than you would on a steel watch, but you really will never scratch this since ceramic's so high on the hardness scale. You never have to worry about that, so polishing this watch is not a concern. The only problem is chipping, and chipping you really can't repair once it happens. So if you hit this thing harder on a table or a door jamb, there's a pretty high chance that it will chip, and that's not a hit against Omega at all. That's with all ceramic watches. It's just the nature of the material that it chips easily. So that's one thing to consider when you buy this piece. So now, just wrapping this video up, this watch comes in at a new price of $9,750, which I think is better value than some of the other ceramic watches Omega has done that cost around $12,000. And just being that this watch is so unique, I think that this price isn't actually too bad. You get the ceramic case, you get the cool movement, you really get everything that's a bit interesting, and you do get the uniqueness of this piece as well over the typical Moonwatch. Although I say if you're looking for the classic, get the original, but this is kind of something if you want to be a little fun and you want something different that you're not going to see, this is a great option to get. Now, I'd like to mention we're at JB Hudson Jewelers. They're an authorized dealer of Omega watches. They lent us this piece for the purposes of this review. And I will be leaving a link in the description to their website as well as our channel itself, some other videos about our channel, mainly the Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch I'll leave in there, and the Speedmaster Racing as well, because I feel that these watch kind of tie in well together. So thank you guys for watching this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Thanks.